You ever stop and wonder how your phone, designed in California, was actually built over in China? Or how you can just walk into your local supermarket and grab some coffee from Colombia? Well, it all comes down to this absolutely massive global system. And today, we're going to unpack the simple reasons behind the super complex world of international trade. I mean, it seems like it should be simple, right? A country's got land, it's got factories, it's got people. So why can't a big, powerful nation just, make everything itself? Let's get right into why that idea of national self-sufficiency is, well, pretty much impossible today. The short answer, it's all about international trade. I mean, the simple idea of buying and selling stuff across borders, that's the absolute backbone of our modern world. It's what connects the person who grew the coffee beans to the cup you're drinking right now. Okay, so if countries pretty much have to trade with each other, what's really pushing them to do it? What's the actual engine that keeps this whole global exchange running? Well, it really boils down to a few key things. I mean, for one, sometimes it's just flat out cheaper to make something somewhere else. Other times, one country's sitting on a ton of oil while another has none. And then, of course, there's just pure quality, right? We all want those Swiss watches or that fine French silk because, let's be honest, those countries have perfected their craft. At the end of the day, it's all about getting what you can't make or what someone else can just do better, faster, or cheaper. But here's the thing. This whole global supermarket idea isn't some perfect utopia. As powerful as trade is for creating wealth, it is absolutely a double-edged sword. It has some huge upsides for sure, but also some really serious downsides. So let's start with the good stuff. The advantages are just massive. Trade can seriously boost a country's economy, and that can mean higher wages and a better standard of living for everyone. It also forces companies at home to step up their game and innovate to stay competitive. And, it can even help countries get along better, building stronger political ties. But then you've got the flip side, and these are major risks we're talking about. A country could literally sell off so much of a natural resource that it just runs out. You've got these brand new, what they call infant industries, that can get totally wiped out by cheaper competition from abroad. And countries can get so tangled up with each other economically that a crisis in one place sends these huge shockwaves all around the world. So you can really see the constant tension, right? It's this incredible balancing act. Every single nation has to weigh the amazing potential for growth that comes from a global market against the very, very real risks to its own resources, its jobs, and even its own economic freedom. All right, so think about it. Buying and selling stuff inside your own country is usually pretty straightforward. So what is it that makes doing the exact same thing just across a border so much more complicated? Well, the biggest hurdles are things we just don't even have to think about at home. For starters, you're dealing with different currencies and these crazy, unpredictable exchange rates. And it's not like here where you could just pack up and move to another state. Workers can't just hop across national borders. And on top of all that, every single country has its own unique set of laws, languages, and ways of doing business. But here's where it gets really, really interesting. A country's advantage in all of this isn't set in stone, not at all. It's not just about who has the cheapest labor or the most oil. Something as simple as the value of a country's money can completely change the entire game. And this table shows you exactly what I mean. Don't worry about all the numbers, just focus on the big idea. At first, with one exchange rate, it's a no-brainer to buy two key things from region A because it's cheaper. But then, look what happens when that exchange rate shifts. All of a sudden, only one of those things is the better deal. A tiny little change in currency value can literally wipe out a huge economic advantage, just like that, overnight. Okay, so we've got all these complex gears and levers driving global trade. But what's it all for? Let's kind of zoom out for a second and ask a much bigger question. What are the actual consequences of this constant push for economic growth for our countries, for the planet, and heck, for our own happiness? There's this really fascinating theory called the threshold hypothesis. And what it basically says is that, yeah, economic growth is great for our quality of life, but only up to a point. Once you cross that threshold, the theory goes, more growth can actually start making things worse. And believe it or not, some research actually puts a number on this. It shows that while, yes, happiness tends to go up with income, that link starts to get a lot weaker. It kind of plateaus once a country's average income per person hits around $15,000. It's proof that more money doesn't always buy more happiness. And of course, we absolutely cannot have this conversation about global growth without facing its environmental cost.
if you look at history, there has been an incredibly tight link between the world getting richer and the amount of carbon dioxide we're pumping into the atmosphere. And this is exactly why this whole conversation gets so complicated. See, economists have shown that growth isn't just growth. It's not a one-size-fits-all thing. A country can grow in a way that turns it into a giant consumer, buying more and more from the rest of the world. That's what they call import biased. Or it can grow in a way that makes it a huge producer, selling more to everyone else. That's export biased. And each of those paths sends completely different ripples through the entire global economy.
So, when you have a global system that's this complex, with so many moving parts and so many countries all looking out for themselves, well, it can't just run on its own. You need rules, and you definitely need some referees to make sure everyone's playing fair.
And that's exactly where big institutions like the International Monetary Fund, you've probably heard of it as the IMF, come into play. You can really think of them as the referees for the global economy. They're the ones who help regulate exchange rates, give a financial hand to countries that are in trouble, and basically try to keep the whole system stable and as fair as possible.
They even created this really unique kind of international asset to help keep things stable, and it's called special drawing rights, or SDRs. Its nickname is paper gold, which is pretty cool. And what it does is act as an extra cushion on top of the official money reserves that countries hold, just adding one more layer of stability to the whole world of finance. So we're left with this really big, fundamental question. We have built this incredible, unbelievably powerful engine for creating wealth all around the world. But as we've seen, that engine comes with some very real costs. The huge, ongoing challenge is this: who gets to write the rules for this game? And how in the world do we make it fair for everybody?